and we will go ahead and get started. So we had you all fill out a registration form with questions that you wanted answered, and we have reached out to our campus partners, and some of them are on the call with us tonight. So we'll go ahead and take some time for them to introduce themselves. Glenn, if you want to get started, and then we'll go around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize. In our technological world, I'm having to operate this from my phone because my computer decided to restart right now. So Glenn Giddings, I'm the director of the Student Activity Center and Special Programs. So Katie and I work together on the Parents Association and Welcome Week and many other things. And we are very glad to have you here.
All right, and we also have David Henry on the call with us here from Campus Housing. David, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
Sure thing. My name is David Henry. As representative for Campus Housing, I'm the Assistant Director of Residential Technology.
All right, and we also have Chris here from Campus Dining. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Katie. Yes, I apologize for my face not popping up. My camera decided to put a big blur in the middle of it, so I think it's cracked. So I don't want you guys to see how beautiful my face is and that it just shines bright. But my name is Chris Cowan. I'm the marketing coordinator for UofL Dining. So normally during orientation, you would have seen my face and heard my voice talking to you for all the presentations. But we're super excited to have you guys here tonight with us on this call and can't wait.
Thanks, Chris. We also have Morgan West on the call from Financial Aid.
Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan West. I'm a financial aid advisor for new students in the financial aid office at University of Louisville. I'm just briefly going to go over some things about, next steps for financial aid and cover a few items with the bursar's office as well. So happy to be here tonight.
And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Quante Taylor on the call with us, and he is our new Director of Student Involvement at the University of Louisville.
Thanks, Katie. Hey, everyone. Quante Taylor, Director of Student Involvement. Excited to talk with you all about co-curricular and out-of-classroom experiences for your students. So looking forward to a great conversation.
All right, so we are so excited to have all of you all here with us tonight. I know this is going to go by very quickly, so we'll go ahead and get started with some information from Campus Housing. So David, I know we had a couple of questions submitted about housing selection, how move-in works, and I know all of this is very new. It was just announced last week, so if you could go ahead and start to talk with us about that.
Sure thing, and I'll let all you parents know this is also the first one of these presentations I've done, so it's the first time for you, it's the first time for me, so we'll just kind of go through it together. But to talk about how move-in will work, we will have a move-in request form that will launch on July 8th at 10 a.m. That means that your student will be able to log into the housing portal, and then they'll be able to select the time that they'll be wanting to move in. While our COVID protocols are in the process of relaxing, we do want to make sure that we are still somewhat spread out. And then one benefit that we had last year that we heard from a lot of parents is that they also appreciated the having a scheduled system, because it also meant that it wasn't necessarily a free-for-all and we have 100 people try to show up at the exact same time to move in, because then everybody's fighting over parking spaces and everybody's fighting over move-in bins, and that just went really smoothly. And so it's going to be in our time slots, starting usually, let me see for when it was released, from, let's see, for regular move-in starting on Wednesday, August 18th, it'll be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so those are 1 hour time slots. That doesn't mean you have to get everything done in 1 hour. It's just 1 hour for you to show up, make sure you have your student gets their keys, they're checked in. if possible, most of the stuff gets moved in during that time slot, just so, like we talked about with the move-in bins, there's not that much conflict. But then if it's something where, we got our student in, but we didn't want to pack everything. So it's like, now we're going to go get groceries, or we're going to go get some other smaller items. You are allowed to, come in and out. Once your student is checked in, that's their space. They're free to come as they go. We just kind of ask that parents just kind of be aware and graceful with what the parking situation will be. So like when you get up that first time for your hour, you might be a little bit closer to the residence hall, but then once you leave, you're not necessarily going to be able to get back as close. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And so once that move-in schedule becomes available July 8th at 10 a.m., that will be open up until, I think we're going to try to semi-close it 2 days prior to move-in, simply because we'll continue to get applications and we'll continue to get assignments all the way up to move-in. And so we want to make sure all those students are still able to select. And so your student doesn't necessarily have to be rushed to log in at 10 a.m. on that first day. We kind of request that they don't, just so the system doesn't get 1,000 logins at once and either goes slow or crashes. So there will be a lot of slots in each hour in each building. So while it is first come, first serve, it's such a number of people that will be available. We don't expect that like those slots aren't going to fill up in the first 30 minutes in July, simply because, or at least I assume based on experience, that most parents aren't necessarily going to have their specific time pinned down more than a month early of this is exactly when, is going to work for my schedule.
Thanks, David. We had a couple other questions submitted. So, typically most of our residential rooms are a double, sometimes a triple. Are the beds first come, first serve? Are they assigned? Is it first pick? How does that go?
In a double room, it's usually set up where if you walk in the bedroom door, the left side is what's considered the A side and the right side is what's considered the B side. So the furniture should be somewhat set up when you first move in. Now that's not to say we're not going around and making sure that, oh, you moved in on the left side instead of the right side. So we kind of tell people this is where it should be. It's more of for the students about the kind of essentially the room inventory type of thing, because our student staff and our maintenance staff do go through the rooms and we're able to mark that we see that bed A is in this condition, drawer A is in this condition, bed B, drawer A, or drawer B, etc. So the furniture could have slightly different marks and conditions on them. And then at the end of the year, those are what's really going to get comparison based on what it is. So that part is somewhat important, but also once you move in, preferably after both roommates are in, all the furniture, I believe in most of the double rooms, is also rearrangeable. Most things aren't bolted down. So if it's something where your student and their roommate moves in and you're like, we don't like this specific configuration, we want to move stuff around so that it fits their personalities and what they want, they're more than allowed to do that. And so we do assign them to it, but they're not necessarily there's not a hard line enforcement of you're in, you're on this side of the room, you're on that side of the room, and you're stuck there.
Thank you. We actually just got a question in the chat too. One of the parents has a second-year student in speed school. Her summer housing ends on July 31st. Is there any way she could move her things into her new living space and just not live there until move-in? I know last year we had drop and go. Is there anything similar to that this year that we could accommodate to?
For students, is she living on, for whoever that is in the chat with that, is your student living on campus in the fall?
Yes, it looks like she will be living in University Point in August.
Okay. They wouldn't be able to move their belongings into that space when their speed summer term ends, simply because those rooms are still occupied. University Point rooms run through August 1st. So on July 31st, there should be somebody in that room. But what that student can do is if they email our main housing service account, housing@louisville.edu, they can put in a request to have their summer assignment kind of change from being a speed school term to a full summer term. And at that point, they'd be able to keep their belongings somewhere on campus and then move directly into University Point. It wouldn't be necessarily like empty storage because they would have to be there to move into that building when it becomes available. But that's the kind of the only option for that we have, simply because they're not able to keep their stuff in their summer room because we're going to have to get that clean for the fall student to move in, but their fall assignment will be occupied past when they have to move out. So there is a little bit of a timing conflict with that.
Thank you. That was helpful. We have a couple other questions that were submitted. Could you talk about how students could get in touch with roommates to see if there was any interest in splitting the cost of some of the supplies that were needed? And also just explain the whole random roommate process a little bit, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'll answer the first part of that question. For getting in touch with your roommates, is a student can log into the housing portal and under, I think it says My Profile. It's the first option on the left-hand menu of the housing portal. There's a report in there that shows my roommates and suite mates. And there's instructions above it that say, because that report works for however long the student lives on campus. So if they pick a date during the fall semester, they can see the information for their roommates and suite mates. And so they'd be able to see that person's name. We don't give out students' personal information, so it's not going to show your student's cell phone number on in the housing portal. But what we usually encourage students to do is once they know the name of their roommate, is that if they log into ULink and go to their university email, there's a university address book where they can look up their fellow students' university email, and then they can reach out that way, just so that way we're not giving out any potential confidential information that students might not want shared, but their university email is is a public university address book that they'd be able to use. And then you said there was a question about roommates.
Yes. So for one, it was about how to communicate with roommates, and then two, how are roommates selected in the housing portal?
Sure. So currently is our housing assignment process is done through students logging into the housing portal and assigning themselves to a space. So they're able to log in, and once they've logged in, there's a button in the middle of the screen that says assign. So they can click on that, follow through the steps, and then they're able to pick their specific bed based on what's currently available for them based on different information on their application. And they can, when they're going in to pick a room, if that room's empty, then they can pick whatever bed in that unit. But if it's partially assigned, say, like if, yeah, so if John Doe is in one of the bed spaces and I'm the person logging in to pick something, I can see that that other bed space is occupied and I can click on it. It won't tell me John Doe's name or information, but on the housing application, there are personal preference questions that are asked. I believe it's like, are you a smoker? Are you neat? Do you stay up late? That type of thing. And they can see each other's answers for that. So it could be if there are 2 rooms open and I can see one has somebody who's stays up late and I prefer to go to bed early, I'm probably going to pick the other room. And then after we end the room selection process at the end of this month, our assignments coordinator will then go in and she'll work on manually assigning any student who is left or any student who applies for housing after the end of June. And we have a program that will work on assigning students based on those questions. And so it'll run through the word in the program is happiness quotient. And so it'll say who's 100% match on all their questions. So those get assigned first. And then it's like who hits 90% of the questions and then 80%, so forth and so on, trying to get as many close matches as they can. Unfortunately, at the end, if it's, I'm the last person and there's only one bed space left, it's not going to particularly matter what my answers were or what that other person's answers were. I'm the last person assigned, so I just get what's left.
That was very helpful. We do have a couple more questions before we move on to dining. Can you talk about the difference between an LLC and the honors program, as well as, typical items that students should bring with them on move-in that is not included in their room already?
Sure. So the difference between the honors, what's the difference between the honors LLC and the honors program? Am I understanding that question correctly?
Yes. So what's the difference, and is there a way to do both at the same time?
Okay, sure. So for the honors, I'll kind of word it this way, is that any person participating in the honors LLC has to be part of the honors program. And so, if you're thinking of like a Venn diagram, the big circle is all students in the honors program, and then there's a smaller circle inside of it that's students participating in the honors LLC. So not every honors student is in the honors LLC or is able to. Most honors LLC participants are freshmen, and our honors program goes all the way through graduation. So you can participate in that honors LLC and be assigned to an honors LLC room, but you do have to be part of the honors program. And then for items to bring, I can put a link in the chat real quick. If you give me one moment, we have a PDF on our website.
I just found it. I'll drop it in the chat.
Thank you.
The last question on housing we are going to address for now is the dimensions of the new residence hall. Those actually aren't on the website. I didn't know if you had those handy or if those were available yet.
Let me see if you can give me one moment. Let me look.
I also see we have a hand raised. If you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, you're more than welcome to.
I was just curious if the roommates don't get along because obviously some people took random selection. How does that process work? Like, is it?
Sure. I'll answer your question and then I'll do the dimensions. So for students who end up, they move in, they end up not, they just don't get along. Not everybody does, and that's okay. Is that there is kind of a frozen period at the start of the semester where we don't have room changes, just as we get last minute assignments in and we just try to get everybody kind of in and settled. But then room changes will actually open, and it will work where a student who wants a room change can log into the housing portal and fill out a request to move into a different room. And they're able to say, I want to move into either, I want to stay in the same building because I really like it, I'm part of an LLC community in there, I just want a different space. Or it could be, I want to try to put in a request to go to a different building. Once that request is put in, it's then reviewed by some different housing staff for some different criteria. And then if there is a space available, the hall director of that building will actually send an email to the student saying, I have this space available, this is the cost of it, this is when you'd be able to move, is this okay? And the student can log in and say, yes, I either accept this room change request or I decline it, I don't really like that, I want to put in a different request. And then those will remain open for, I don't think any specific dates have been set for this fall semester yet. But there is usually a time where it ends just as we get closer to the end of the fall semester. Just for timing and turnover, we usually kind of then freeze it and then it'll reopen again in the spring. Because it could be your friends for one semester and then it just takes longer for some things to build than others.
That was great. If you all have any more questions about campus housing, feel free to email their service account. It's housing@louisville.edu. And we will be able to address any other questions in the chat as well as we move through the night.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and post those room dimensions for the new building as well in there.
Awesome. All right, up next, we are going to move over to Chris with our U of L dining services, and he's going to talk a little bit about our dining options on campus and meal plans.
Thank you, Katie. So I'm going to talk to you guys about some general meal plan information. I'm going to talk to you all a bit about the meal plan when it starts and when it ends, and then I will also share with you the cost of meal plans. Katie, I'm going to share my screen here, and if you can just let me know when you see it.
You are good to go.
All righty. So I'm going to try to make this as easy and quick for you all as we can. So the way that our meal plans are set up is your student will have meal swipes and flex points, or they'll just have flex points. Meal swipes, you can use one meal swipe to get into the Ville Grill, which is our all-you-care-to-eat dining hall. You can use that, go in for that one swipe, and you can eat. Your student can eat till they explode, whatever they prefer. Meal swipes are good there at the Ville Grill, but you can also use meal swipes at our retail locations on campus to get what is called a meal swipe combo. Everywhere except for Starbucks accepts meal swipes. Our meal swipe combos are basically an entree, a side, and a drink for all of our locations. The combos are listed on either the menu boards at each of our restaurants, or they are on a little sign at the register. We also have them on our website. We update those on our website. I threw that in the chat here. That is louisville.edu/dining. And that is where your student can go on as we get closer to the fall semester. We will be able to update that with the updated meal swipe combo so that they can actually go through and pick and choose which ones they think they're going to want to eat or try throughout the semester. The next portion that is on your student ID for the student is called Flex Points. Flex Points is just like money on a gift card. If I gave everyone here a $100 gift card to Kroger, you can only use it at Kroger. You cannot go use it at Walmart. So that's how our flex points work. Our flex points work on campus at all of our dining locations, but you cannot use flex points at off-campus locations that are nearby. So flex points are only good on campus in our dining locations that we have, and we have over 20 dining locations on our campuses. The last thing that your student could have on their meal plan is called guest meals, and I'll show you all the meal plans here in just a second. And we have 2 all-access plans that get guest meals with them, and they get 10 guest meals per semester. All of our meal plans are per semester. So this here is meal swipes and flex points and our guest swipes. The next slide here, all of our students that are living on campus, whether they're an undergraduate student or graduate, if they are a full-time student living on campus, or if they're an undergraduate commuter who's taking full-time hours, as long as 9 credit hours at least are on the main Belknap campus in a classroom, the University of Louisville requires that a student is on a meal plan. Our job as UofL Dining is to help you and your student find the meal plan that best fits you. Not everyone is the same. People eat all different times a day. People eat multiple different meals. Some people don't eat a bunch of full meals. So we really try to take that into consideration when we're helping you and your student pick their meal plan. This here breaks down traditional halls, our apartment hall plan halls, and our commuter plans. So traditional halls, it's Community Park, Kurz, Louisville Hall, Miller Hall, Threcold, and Unitas. And then we will also be adding in the new residential dorm there as well. Our apartment plans are anyone living in Betty Johnson, University Point, and University Tower apartments. These are all located on campus. And then commuter plans is anyone that's classified as a commuter lives at one of the names that you see here of off-campus housing, or they have their own apartment or live at home with you or a grandparent, but they don't live in traditional or apartments, so they're classified as a commuter. The next slide here. So here's our meal plans. This is the pricing for our meal plans for this semester. As you can see, I'll go back to the slide here before. These are color coordinated as red, yellow, and green, which matches the availability for each meal plan based on where your student is living. And so if your student lives in one of the traditional halls, their 3 options are the 135 plan and then both of our all access plans. If your student is in an apartment, they have a few extra plans, the 100 plan, the 60, and the apartment flex plan. And then commuters can pick any meal plan of their choosing. It is very rare for us to have any commuters on either one of the all access plans. I personally have never attempted or want to attempt to sell an all access plan to a student that is living off campus, especially if they're living at home. It's a lot of money and a lot of food that's going to end up going to waste because they're not going to be on campus enough to use it. So that's part of the questions that we ask. We ask your students and you where you're living for the fall semester or for the spring semester. And then we're able to break that down by finding out budgets, class schedules, working with them on any dietary restrictions or needs that they have. So we're able to break all that down and help you select the best meal plan. And to talk to you just a second about the all access plans, they do the exact same thing, except the all access plus plan gives your student $150 extra in flex points to spend on campus for only an $80 difference. So the all access plans give your student unlimited meal swipes into our Ville Grill dining hall. They also get those guest meals that we talked about, the 10 guest meals. Those can be used for when you come and visit them, or if they have any friends or siblings that come visit them that do not go to U of L, they can use those guest meals to get those people and you all into the Ville Grill for free. And all they have to tell the cashier is they would like to use a guest meal, and then the cashier will swipe it that way. All access plans also come with flex points. They also, it already sounds like a lot, but they get one more thing because the students that are on all access plans currently have an unlimited amount at the Ville Grill, our dining hall, but they also get 7 additional meal swipes every week. That number resets to the number 7 on Monday morning the Cardinal Card office resets it. It does not matter if the student used all 7 or if they only use 3 throughout the week. It doesn't add on and just keep giving them more. It only resets to the number 7 on Monday morning. But they can use those 7 meal swipes to go to our retail locations, which those meal swipe combos that I talked to you about just a second ago, that's where they would be able to use these 7 additional meal swipes. So a lot of students will use those meal swipes to eat, lunch or dinner every day somewhere else on campus. And then the other meals that they eat are at the Ville Grill. That way they can spread the 7 out throughout the week. But some students like to, get Chick-fil-A twice or get, try Panda Express. And so they'll use them throughout the week, but they'll just have to kind of remember that to budget when it comes to the retail meal swipes that they get. All of our other meal plans, the 135, 100, 60, 75, and 50 are what we call block plans. So that just means that they have a set amount of meal swipes to use for the per semester, and that they have flex points to use for the semester. One of the columns here shows you the average meals per week. For the 135 plan, that's 8 meals per week. So they could have 1 meal swipe per day. Or if they're a student that lives in one of our apartment plans, Betty Johnson, U Point, or University Tower, you're able to use that because you have a kitchen in your room. So you're more than likely going to want to cook or at least make some meals there. So you may not necessarily eat all day on campus. But as you can see, the more down you go, the less meal swipes that it has. This is to help kind of balance things out. Some students like to have more flex points and less meal swipes. For our commuters, the only 3 plans that I like to show commuters are the base flex plan, that 300 plan at the bottom, the 50 plan, and the 75 plan. And that's mainly because as a commuter, especially, you're probably only on campus during the times that you are there for class. So in order for them to do the 75 plan, for example, that would just give them the opportunity to have 1 meal swipe each day. And if the student does not have classes Monday through Friday, then they would have extras to use throughout the week to get an extra meal to head home or off to work. That way they have a balance of both, and then they also still get the flex points. And that is what our meal plans are. And then all the pricing is on the right there. They are per semester. Each semester, at the beginning of every semester, we have myself and some of my student interns that work with me. They are able to go out on campus for the first 2 weeks of the semester and talk about meal plans, answer any questions that students have for us, help students change their meal plan if they need to. And so your student gets a 10-day window. So when school starts this August, I know that our meal plan deadline date is September 2nd. So on that Thursday of September 2nd, we will have a last call for students to pick their meal plan. And that'll be the last day that anyone can change a meal plan with us or with the Cardinal Card office. And then once that date passes, meal plans are locked in for the semester, and there is no way to be able to go back and change the meal plan. But during those first 10 days, from first day of classes to the next Thursday, the next week, students have that much time to go through, see if the meal plan that they selected or that was already on their meal plan is something that works for them. And the last thing about the meal plans here, you'll see some stars, a red star, a yellow star, and a green star. And the red star is our traditional automatic default plan. If you don't select a meal plan, that's the one that just automatically is on your account to start with, and you can still change it. For the apartment plans, it's the 100 plan. And then for the commuters, it's the base flex plan of 300 flex points. Those can still be changed. Right now, the portal for the Cardinal Card office, they are updating it. So it is not up and running right now for everyone to be able to select their meal plan. They have let me know that it should be up and running by middle to end of like July. So we're hoping to, fingers crossed there, they'll be sending out an email too. They said once they get that as well. I see here in the chat that we have a couple questions. The unlimited meal swipes at the Ville Grill, you can go in there and eat unlimited number of times a day. Yes, so your student has the all access plan. They can eat unlimited. We've had a student that would go, and I believe they averaged like 13 times a day, because your student can just swipe in if they wanted a cookie, if they just want to go in and get a drink, if they just finished eating and they walk out and then their friends pass them and are like, hey, we're going to Ville Grill to eat, they can turn right around and go right back in because they have unlimited swipes to do that. Let's see here. Can you change the meal plans if you want? So yeah, so you can select any meal plan based on the availability of where you're living. Color coordinated with the red, the yellow, and the green. This way you have enough opportunity to kind of pick and choose which one you'd like. And then I think that is the last question that I don't see. Is there flexibility to have more meal swipes? Yes. So you can add more meal swipes to your account, and you can add more flex points to your student's account as the semester goes along. You can add meal plans in blocks of 10 for $80, or you can add on flex points of any kind. Our flex points are, there's no taxes in with our flex points. So when your student spends it on campus, anything that the menu board says, if it says it's $5.25, that's all the student pays. There's no taxes. And when you add more flex points to your student's account, you would do that through their Cardinal card account on their ULink. And you can add, we have a bonus structure where if your student adds $100 to $199, they get 10% back for free into a bonus account. If they add $200 to $299, they get 20% back for free into a bonus account. And then anything of $300 or more gets 25% back. The way that that works is if your student adds $100, your card is only charged $100. And then when the student's $100 goes in, we as dining will get a report from the card office, and then we're able to go in and add the additional $10 in flex points to a bonus account, a separate account called Bonus Flex. And when your student uses their 100 that they add, when that bucket gets to 0, the bonus account will kick in, the $10 will, and pay for anything else that they have that's $10 or less. I see another question here of, did you say there are some places off campus? So off campus, we do not have anything off campus that meal plans or flex points can be used at, but the Cardinal Card office has what's called Cardinal Cash added to your student ID, which you can add for students to use for printing. And then you can also use that to get stuff off campus. Their website does have, once it's up and running again, you'll be able to see on there, they have a whole like pamphlet full of all the places that do accept the Cardinal Cash, but Cardinal Cash is just like money on a debit card. It's taxed and it has nothing to do with your meal plan. It's specifically for the card office as an extra tender on the account for you to have. And then I'll show you guys here just a quick map of our dining locations. So as you can see, all throughout campus, there are dining locations. We have over 20 dining locations in 11 different buildings. I have personally walked all of these from the center of campus and from where a majority of the main traditional halls are and the apartment dorms are. It takes me about 5 to 7 minutes to get to some of the dining locations at like the farthest. And I know you can't see me, but I'm a little bit bigger of a guy, and I get there in about 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm sure that your younger student could definitely get there quicker. But a lot of students, there's always options all throughout. Where number 1 is here on the map, that is located in the Speed School. There is a dining location there as well. And none of our dining hours have been set yet for the fall semester. There is a committee that meets with the university and representatives from dining. They're supposed to be meeting some more times over this summer to finalize those. Once they are finalized, we will post them on our website and on all of our social media handles. You can follow us on social media at UofL Dining. We are anticipating a normal fall semester though, so we will have more locations open. We will have more hours open and up. I know that there was a lot of stuff in the spring that had to get changed, and I know it was difficult on the student and you all as the parents. I personally am not in those conversations, so I was not the one that was like helping make any of those decisions. I just do the posting on social media and share it out. But I do want you to know, if anyone here has a student that currently goes to U of L, all of those concerns that were given to us and expressed were taken seriously, and we have used a lot of that to implement new stuff for this fall semester that we really think that is going to be awesome and new and exciting for you guys as parents and for your student as an incoming freshman or as a current student who's coming back with us.
Thank you.
And Chris, as we pivot, Chris, I do want to say definitely we do ask for some grace because, as we all know, we lived through a pandemic, all of us. So there definitely were adjustments that unfortunately impacted some things, but all of us are forecasting a much more open opportunity to have some more traditional feels to many of our things.
All right, now we're going to move forward and talk with our financial aid office with Miss Morgan for just a little while, so we can talk about online tuition, financial assistance that's available, Metro College, some information about tuition and when the bill is typically received, payment due dates, and financial issues that some people often run into.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I am going to, actually just share some of the websites. And Katie, can you see that? Okay.
Yes,
great.
I can.
So I'm just going to go through some of our websites just because that might be a good starting point. So if you have further questions down the line, or if if we maybe don't cover something today, this will give you kind of a head start, and it's a good place to start researching and looking into some of the questions you might have. Of course, we do. I will say one of the first things I'll post here or show you here is our contact information. This is on our website. It's clearly labeled there. And I'll post all of the links in the chat so that you can access them later too. Don't feel like pressured to write all the web addresses down. But this is our general contact information. So, we understand that financial aid is a very specific topic to your student. So, you might have general questions today, but there might be something that is, a specific question. Feel free to give us a call or send us an email. Our normal business hours are 9 to 5, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then on Thursdays, we open a little bit later at 10 a.m. So again, contact information is on our website if you have any additional questions. But just as a general synopsis, the financial aid office website has been known to be like almost too much information. It's like an overload of information because we just want to make sure that people have at least a good sense of what the different financial aid programs are and what aid a student might be eligible for. A question that we get a lot of times at this point of the year is regarding loans, how to process those. So again, you see that there's this loan tab on our website that will take you directly to the loan page on our website. Gives you instructions step by step on how to process your students' subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So again, this is kind of common of all of our web pages where it's like step by step, how do I process a loan? So you can kind of go through, make sure all of those steps have been completed. If you have any further questions, you can let us know. But this is, like I said, kind of a good place to start. Parent information about processing a Parent Plus loan through the Department of Education is also on our website. And anytime you see a big red link like this, that will likely take you to, again, the Department of Education website with more information and application information for parents if you want to process that Plus loan. One of the questions that was also asked ahead of time was about Metro College, and while that's a completely separate office from us, but we do tend to answer a lot of questions about Metro College. For anybody who's not from the local Louisville area, you might not know this, but the UPS has a major hub about 5 miles from campus. It's one of the I think it may be the largest airport hub of UPS in the nation. And so there's a lot of opportunities for students to have jobs with UPS and be earning tuition assistance or tuition reimbursement as part of that program. So on top of the student earning, hourly wages, which is, typically about $14 to $15 an hour, they're also eligible to receive up to a tuition reimbursement of the in-state portion of their tuition. Just realize for anybody who might be out of state and has that out-of-state tuition rate, it wouldn't cover your full out-of-state tuition, but, that UPS Metro College portion of it would be a good portion of it each semester. A couple other things to note about Metro College: if you're an incoming, or if your student is an incoming freshman, still an opportunity for them, especially if they're not trained, they're maybe living at home or living close to home, they're from Louisville. That might be a good transition for them, especially if they've had a job before, they have part-time work while they're in high school and able to juggle that. Metro College is a program where students would be working the third shift. So essentially they go into UPS around 11 o'clock at night, and they're working a few hours every day. So, again, not for everybody. And the good thing about Metro College is too that students don't have to sign on for all 4 years. They can, you can go kind of semester by semester. So maybe it's not something that they want to start in the fall. Maybe it's something they want to push, or, see if that might be a possibility later on in their college career. Or if, they start off their fall their first year, but later on they might have like an internship or some other kind of co-op or something that doesn't allow them to work that much. They have the opportunity to switch that around a little bit. And so this is the website. I'll post Metro College's information in the chat as well. If you have further questions about signing up with Metro College, you'll want to reach out to that office particularly. And there were a lot of questions sent to us before the presentation about billing. When is the bill going to be available? What's the tuition rate, online tuition, everything like that. So like I said, I am in the financial aid office, and we work very closely with offices such as the Bursar, Registrar, Metro College, that are all kind of related to financial aid. The Bursar's office is actually who's responsible for billing. So I have their information here. Again, on every website, you'll find contact information. So if you had further questions, you could reach out to them. But the Bursar's office is who's responsible for billing. For fall of 2021, bills typically are available they will be processed, they will be put together the beginning of July. It's typically the week of 4th of July. So your student will get a notification in their university email, and they'll be able to view their bill on ULink once that has been put together. And so the Bursar's office is going to take in information like, how many classes are they enrolled in for the fall? What is their housing situation? Are they on campus? What's their room? They have all of that kind of set. And then they'll also put in there if they have a meal plan, or what that selection is at that point. So that will all, in addition to any kind of class fees. I didn't mention that before, but that all kind of gets packaged together in that bill. Those should be available sometime beginning of July. So just keep an eye out for those. Another thing I wanted to let you know about is the tuition and fees. So these were just posted recently, I think sometime this week, tuition and fees for next year. So if you, again, go to the Bursar's office website at any time, you'll be able to access this information. And for the time being, since you won't be able to access your student won't have access to the bill for another month or so, that might be a good place to start, is just knowing, what are the tuition rates for this upcoming year. So again, I'm not going to go over all of the rates at this point or how that all adds up, but you can kind of explore their website and see, what is this going to mean in terms of being a full-time student for the academic year, for the per semester. What is the cost going to look like for any incoming students who were admitted to the university and filed a FAFSA? They likely already got some kind of offer sheet from the financial aid office that also outlines estimated cost for the upcoming year. So, as an incoming student, you probably already have, or parents of incoming students, you might already have a good idea of what that cost might be. And really the tuition rates haven't gone up much since last year. Another question that we had was about due dates and like ways to pay the bill. So at this point in time, the tuition due date for fall of 2021 is August 27th, which is the first Friday after classes start. So at this point in time, the bursar's office does not have a link available for payment plans, but realize that that will be an option. They'll make that link active and the application you'll be able to fill that out if you want to do a payment plan where you're able to split the payment either over 5 monthly payments or 4 monthly payments, depending on when that application goes in. One thing to mention about payment plans is they do require a $25 fee to set that up. But if that's something you're interested in, just keep an eye out for that as well. One thing I wanted to mention here as well, and students would have to do this on their account, but bursar's office understands, and we all understand too in the financial aid office, that sometimes it's hard being as a parent, at this point in time, the student is considered the consumer in terms of the university. So they're the ones who primarily get information about financial aid or about the bill. But in terms of the bursar's office and information about billing, if the student allows parents or other, authorized individuals like grandparents or members of the family to access their billing information, they can set that up on ULink, and it's called delegated access. And there's information on the bursar's office website about how to set that up. Last thing that I wanted to mention just really quickly, kind of jumping back to financial aid again, but the financial aid office, and in partnership with the bursar's office, we do, typically it's about weekly, the financial aid office does some kind of admitted students night presentation with admission. So if your student is an incoming freshman, then they probably have gotten, or maybe you have gotten, some information about our sessions. So if you want to dive deeper into financial aid, you have some questions about that, feel free to join us on one of these dates. And this is, I'll post this link in the chat as well, but this is on the admissions website. Student would have to sign up for those.
Thank you so much, Morgan. That was really awesome. Yeah, we know that we've gotten really great feedback from your all's admitted student night presentation. So definitely join into those if you have more questions for Morgan. We are going to go ahead and start talking with Quante now about student involvement and campus involvement at U of L.
Thanks, Katie. So good afternoon, folks. Thank you all for joining us. I'll be before you not for too long, but want to talk about what your student is doing outside of the classroom. So we fully acknowledge that your students are coming here to get a degree. I am not a fan of people saying that, hey, that's the only thing they have to do while on campus. That is not true. When we look at their time, they spend about 75% of their time outside of the classroom. So how are we helping them make meaning of that time? And when we talk about time, one of the biggest myths that we hear is students don't have time to get involved. So I have looked at this, I have studied this, I've been in student activities engagement for the last 12 years. And what I will tell you that on average, our students have about 10 hours a week to get involved. That's after going to class, that's after studying for 30 hours, that's after having an on-campus job, that is sleeping and eating and having time to hang out with friends. There is still on average about 10 hours a week per student for them to get involved. And when we talk about get involved, I talk about those in 7 key areas. One of those is leadership development. So how are we helping them talk about the skills and experience that they're having in college? One of those is a community and civic engagement. What is the impact that they're having on the U of L campus? What are they having in the city of Louisville and Jefferson County, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the United States of America as a nation? We strive ourselves in preparing our students to be active and global citizens and what that means to engage and support in that space. Student organizations is probably our biggest entry point for students to get connected and to feel a sense of belonging on campus. This is where they will make their friends and happen in that. We pride ourselves that we have over 450 active student organizations on our campus. That's everything from the ukulele club to board game society to those who are in club in intramural sports. There's something for everyone. We want to make sure that we create that. And if they don't find that opportunity, we want to help them find opportunities to connect with students to build that opportunity. Outside of that, we talk about campus programs and events. One of the biggest components of free events on campus is the Student Activities Board, who does 150 free events for students, starting at Welcome Week and going through commencement. So there is always something happening on campus for students to get connected with. One of our points of pride are our service learning programs. So we have trips that are domestic trips that may be going to address food insecurity in Washington, D.C., or maybe going to do a habitat build in New Orleans. But we also have international service learning opportunities that may be going to teach English to students in Ghana, or they may be going to talk about water conservation in Costa Rica. When we talk about being a global citizen, there's a service learning component that goes with each of those. Sorority and Fraternity Life will be celebrating its 100th year on the campus of the University of Louisville this coming fall. So founded in 1921, we have been fortunate enough to have 35 different chapters on our campus. And in that, we're excited to talk about the history, the legacy, and the lifelong commitments that our students have made through those organizations. And the last part of involvement that we often don't think of involvement is campus employment. Being able to have an on-campus job is a reality for a number of our students. So when we talk about the experience they're having working in dining services or working in residence life or working in the library or working in the student recreational center, that is a part of involvement because we're able to have direct conversations with those employers about what's it mean to be adaptable to a student schedule. Hey, my student is a speed student, so therefore their academic year looks a little different. Are you prepared to accommodate them? The answer is going to be yes. We've been intentional in having those conversations of employment is a meaningful benefit and a meaningful co-curricular experience for our students. So as your student comes to campus, as you have conversations with them about what they're doing, I implore you to remember the rule of 3. Find something to get involved with that is related to their academic major. So my daughter's an English major. I want her to join the Journalism Society. Okay, great. Find something that is a carryover from high school. Hey, my son ran track, so I want him to join the running club, so therefore he can connect with runners that are here. And then find that third thing that is unique to their college experience. That may be Greek life, that may be a study abroad opportunity. There are a number of ways to shape about what that third thing is. But what is that experience that can only get about being a college student? And I say this all the time, you don't have to stay involved with the same thing the entire time on campus. We see a number of students that may be involved with one thing my freshman and sophomore year, and as I go and have an internship or a co-op or declare a major, those interests shift. That is okay. There is not a certificate for having 4-year membership in the cheerleading club. That's okay. I want you to be able to have that well-rounded experience. Another myth that we talk about is the timing of involvement. It doesn't have to be immediate. If your student comes and says like, hey, it's day 2 of being on campus and I haven't found what I want to do, that's 98% of our students on campus, and it's perfectly okay with that. We normally talk about the 6-week window of students being on campus and the opportunity for them to find their space and involvement on campus. My team in the Office of Student Involvement, the Student Activity Center, and a couple of other programs on campus have been able to be very intentional into what those 6 weeks look like and be able to explore the depth and breadth of opportunities here at the University of Louisville. I will also mention to say that we do a number of programs going for our targeted populations. So our out-of-state students, our students who are not from Jefferson County, our students who may be transfers. We are intentional that, hey, their experiences are different. So how do we give them a little extra love, a little extra opportunity to connect to campus to make sure that they are making the U of L their home, what they may know. So I'll end with this note, and we'll take whatever questions may have from Katie or in the chat. But I encourage you and your student to explore. There are a number of different opportunities here at the university. After you've explored those, find some way to engage. Sign up for the newsletter, follow them on social media, go to the event. And after that, you'll have a great experience, and that's something that we can go on. Katie, I'll stop there because I know we're running short on time.
We are. I feel bad. Every one of these that we've done, we've put you at the very end, so you squeezed everything in for us. But we really do appreciate all of you all taking the time to join us tonight. I know we probably didn't go over everything, but we are going to round out the evening by telling you all a little bit about the Parents Association and Welcome Week now. So for the Parents Association, I dropped the link in the chat to sign up for our newsletter, as well as our official social medias. So we have a Facebook page that we try to post on just about every day with information for you to share with your students or information you as a parent should be aware of. Our newsletter is also a great resource. We have campus partners that submit the information to us each month, and we make sure that we share that with you in a timely fashion. Additionally, we will host Family Weekend in person this year. Last year, we had to switch it to a virtual Family Appreciation Week, which we love doing, but we are very excited to have everybody return to campus to see us. We are still in the planning process of that, but if you want to save the date for October 8th through the 10th, more information about that will be coming soon. but wanted to go ahead and get that on your all's calendars for now. We also wanted to talk to you all a little bit about Welcome Week, and that goes hand in hand with what Quante was saying about campus involvement. It's your students' first opportunity to meet others and figure out where they feel at home with U of L. So we have drastically changed. If you have a student that has been through a Welcome Week experience at U of L previously, it's very different this year. We are inviting all freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, commuter students, transfer students, adult students, whoever you are, to come to Welcome Week this year. We want to make it a fun, engaging opportunity for everyone. A couple key events that we wanted to talk about tonight is Cardinal Kickoff. Cardinal Kickoff is what we traditionally call the final send-off for the parents. So we invite you all to come over on Thursday, August 19th, from 3:30 to 5:30 at Grawemeyer Lawn. We will have a free meal for you all. We will do some final goodbyes with your student, and then we have a fun-filled weekend planned for them to keep them busy as they get acclimated to their new home. We have a new event called Cardinal Frenzy. It's going to be kind of like a local festival of feels. So we will have a DJ and some puppies there from our local shelter that your students can go cuddle with if they're already missing their puppies from home. We'll have some yard games, as well as some local food samplings and food trucks as well. We will have on Friday evening a welcome back concert. This is the first time we've ever been able to have a concert during Welcome Week. It's something we've been striving to do for years and years, and we finally got it to happen this year. We are currently nailing down our talent. We're between a couple artists, but we are super excited to have a concert at Cardinal Stadium as well. So your student will be able to sit in the stands at Cardinal Stadium to enjoy a free concert. We will also have two other new events that we are super excited about. So if any of you all have freshmen or sophomore students who possibly didn't get to have a traditional high school prom, we are going to have a prom for your students. It's not a suit and tie and dress ordeal. It's more of like a sneaker ball, but we're going to have a prom for your students in the SAC. We're pretty sure SAC ballroom. We're still nailing down that detail as well. Those details will be advertised here in probably the next month or so, but we're going to have a prom for your students. So if they didn't get to have prom, they're going to get to have one with all of their new classmates. And lastly, we're going to have a World Fest. So we have students from over 125 different countries at the University of Louisville, and we want to give them the opportunity to feel acclimated in with the entire campus culture. So we are partnering with local restaurants who have different cuisines to bring samples from different countries to campus. So there's going to be food samplings and dance and art and music and all kinds of opportunities for our students to be immersed in other cultures while our international students become immersed in our U of L culture. So it's a great opportunity for the two to mesh together. But those are a couple of the big Welcome Week events we're very excited about this year. Are there any other questions about Welcome Week or Parents Association that we could clear up for you all? I see a message.
Katie, to Jim, no, you don't have to sign up for Welcome Week. And Welcome Week kicks off really on that first day of move-in on the 18th of Wednesday, but the large traditional events will start on Thursday. That's where Katie's saying that we definitely invite you all as family members to the Cardinal Kickoff on Thursday to really enjoy the joy-free meal, swag, the band, Louis, all kinds of fun stuff will be there.
And any events happening prior to Cardinal Kickoff, you are welcome to attend as well. So we will have sessions about our fraternity and sorority life, more information about meal plans, your banking options on campus. I'm trying to go through my mind. So any kind of like campus involvement, campus health, we will have all kinds of informational sessions that you all can attend once you've gotten your student moved in and prior to Cardinal Kickoff. And like I said, that schedule, we are finalizing it, I'm hoping this week, and then we will be sure to share a link with you all as soon as it's available. Jim, parents typically plan to leave Thursday evening after move-in. There's really not much else going on campus for parents after Cardinal Kickoff. You're welcome to stick around and enjoy the city of Louisville. We would love to have you here. But if you have obligations back at home, typically Thursday evening is when parents would head back. Do we have any other questions this evening? Been trying to go through our list. I think we hit pretty much everything this evening, but I would like to give the opportunity to you all if you do have additional questions. We're here to answer them for you this evening.
Hey, Katie, this is Chris with dining. I realized I missed one thing, and it was one of your bullet points. Meal plans will be active on move-in day. So when your student moves in, they'll be able to immediately start using their meal plan on the day that they move in. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Going back through the list, there is one other question on here about parking passes. The cost of parking depends on if your student is living on or off campus. The website for parking is louisville.edu/parking. The parking passes for the upcoming academic year should go on sale July 1st. So you can check their website and you can actually pre-order the pass prior to arriving on campus and have it mailed to your home, which I would definitely recommend doing. The first week or so of classes and everybody's trying to get their parking passes, their line can get pretty long pretty quickly, starting at about 7:55 a.m. and they open at 8. So if you can pre-order that, that would be great. So if your student is a commuter or is living in what we would call an off-campus apartment, so one of our affiliated properties, such as the Clubhouse or the 9, they would be eligible for a commuter parking pass, which is down at the Cardinal Stadium. So we do have residential parking passes. Those zones are relative to where they're living, so make sure you read that on the website very carefully. That way your student can make sure that they're getting a pass as close to home as they possibly can. We had one other question that was submitted about what students need to bring to each class. So that's determined by the professor, and they will get that information on the first day of classes. So, you know, we always recommend you send your student with the traditional items: notebooks, pens, paper, pencils, highlighters, you know, your traditional school supplies, a good laptop or iPad, whatever they feel they're going to use for note taking. In terms of the books, those will become available through ULink. So you can go on there and see your book list from there if the professor has made it available. They're supposed to do it by early August, but if not, they'll get that available the first day of classes, and they can walk over to our campus bookstore and they will be able to purchase it there. Okay, and I think the last question on this list that we didn't cover so far was safety around campus. So campus itself has its own police department. They are fabulous. You'll see them patrolling on foot, on car, on four-wheeler. Sometimes you'll even see them on a horse. They are on bikes. They are on segways. They are incredible, and they're very involved with us. So we are located in the Student Activity Center, and we see them walking through our building every single day. I was a student as an undergrad and as a graduate student and never felt like I was unsafe on campus. I could walk from my class to the parking garage at nighttime to even head back home, and never felt that there was an issue of not having a police presence on campus. We also have the Rave Guardian app. So students can download that from the App Store, and what it is it's a campus safety app. So you can set emergency contacts in there. So I had set mine to my mom and dad when I was a student. It automatically defaults to ULPD. So if they don't set it as UL and something were to happen, it'll automatically call ULPD with their location. So one of my favorite features of that was the safety timer. So I could say I am studying at Ekstrom Library and I need to walk to the parking garage at the Student Activity Center. I know that walk will probably take me about 10 minutes. So I can set a timer for 10 minutes. And if I get to my car before the 10 minutes is up, I just say, I'm here safe. If the 10 minutes expires, ULPD calls me and says, hey, we see you're pretty close to the garage. Are you okay? We have an officer coming to you now, but are you okay? We're here to talk you through until you get to your car. So I definitely recommend students use that app. Not that I ever had to use it, but it was just a great feeling knowing that it was there if I needed it. And so there's the emergency option is great. It also has campus resources in there too. So if you needed to get in touch with campus health or other resources, those are present in there too. Okay, I'm not seeing too many other questions in the chat. So we'll go ahead and close out for this evening. I really want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope this was helpful and informational for you all. We will be doing more of these. We'll have another one scheduled in July and August. Our team is currently working to build out a schedule for the fall as well. So we do think these are useful and would love to keep connecting with you all in the future as well. So if you have any feedback, let us know. Otherwise, feel free to sign up for the July and August ones on our website, and we will connect with y'all soon. Go Cards, everyone.